I have tricks in my pocket. I have things up my sleeve, but I'm the opposite of a stage magician. He gives you illusion disguised as truth. I give you truth in the pleasant disguise of illusion. Take you back to an alley in St. Louis, the time, that quaint period when the huge middle class of America was matriculating from a school for the blind. Their eyes had failed them, or they had failed their eyes, and so they were having their fingers pressed forcibly down upon the fiery braille alphabet of a dissolving economy. In Spain, there was revolution. Here, there was only shouting, confusion, labor to service, and sometimes violent. In otherwise peaceful cities such as Cleveland, Chicago, Detroit. That is the social background of this play. This play is a memory. Being a memory play, it is dimly lighted. It is sentimental. It is not realistic. In memory, everything seems to happen to music. That explains the fiddle and the wings. I'm the narrator of this play and also a character in it. The other characters are my mother, Amanda, my sister Laura, and a gentleman caller who appears in the final scenes. He's the most realistic character in the play, being an emissary from a world that we were somehow set apart from. But having a poet's weakness for symbols, I'm using this character as a symbol of the long-delayed but always expected something that we live for. And there's a fifth character who doesn't appear except for that photograph over there. When you see the picture of this grinning gentleman, please remember that this is our father who left us a long time ago. He's a telephone man who fell in love with long distance. And so he gave up the telephone company and skipped the light fantastic out of town. Last we heard of him was from a picture postcard from the Pacific coast of Mexico, containing a message of 2 words: hello, goodbye, and no address.
You know, Laura, I had the funniest experience in church last Sunday. The church was crowded except for one pew way down front, and in that was just one little woman. Well, I smiled very sweetly at her and I said, "Excuse me, would you mind if we shared this pew?" "I certainly would," she said. "This space is rented." Do you know that is the first time that I knew that the Lord rented space? These northern Episcopalians. Well, I can understand the southern Episcopalians, but these northern ones? No. Oh, honey, don't push your food around with your fingers. If you have to push your food with something, the thing to use is a crust of bread. You must chew your food. Animals have secretions in their stomachs which enable them to digest their food without mastication. But human beings must chew their food before just swallowing it down. And chew! Oh, eat leisurely, eat leisurely. A well-cooked meal has many delicate flavors which must be held in the mouth for appreciation before being gulped down. And chew! Don't you want to give your salivary glands a chance to function?
Mother, I've not enjoyed a single bite of my dinner because of your constant direction on how to eat it. It's you that makes me hurry through my meal with your hawk-like attention to every single bite I take. It's disgusting. All this discussion of animal secretions, salivary glands, mastication.
Temperament of a metropolitan star. You are not excused from this table.
I'm getting a cigarette.
You smoke too much.
Mother, I'll bring you the coffee.
No. You sit down. I'm going to be the colored boy today, and you're going to be the lady.
I'm already up.
Resume your seat. You must keep yourself fresh and pretty for the gentlemen callers.
I'm not expecting any gentlemen callers.
Well, that's the nice thing about them, is they come when the least expected. Why, I remember one Sunday afternoon in Blue Mountain when your mother was just a girl.
I know it's coming now.
Yes, but let her tell it.
Again?
She loves to tell it.
I remember one Sunday afternoon in Blue Mountain when your mother was just a girl. She received 17 gentlemen callers. Why, sometimes there weren't chairs enough to accommodate them all, so we had to send the colored boy over to the parish house to fetch the folding chairs.
And how did you entertain all those gentlemen callers?
I happen to understand the art of conversation.
I bet you could talk.
Well, I could. All the girls in my day could, I tell you.
Yes.
They knew how to entertain their gentlemen callers. It wasn't enough to be possessed of a pretty face or graceful figure, although I wasn't slighted in either respect. She also had to have a nimble wit and a tongue to meet all occasions.
What did you talk about?
Why, we talk about things of importance going on in the world. Never anything common or coarse or vulgar. My callers were gentlemen, all. Some of the most prominent men on the Mississippi Delta. Planters and sons of planters. Why, there was young Champ Laughlin. He later became vice president of the Delta Planters Bank. And Hadley Stevenson, he was drowned on Moon Lake. My goodness, he suddenly left his widow well provided for. $150,000 in government bonds. And the Cuttrell brothers, Wesley and Bates. Bates was one of my own bright particular beaux. But he got in a quarrel with that wild Wainwright boy, and they shot it out on the floor of the Moonlight Casino. Bates was shot right through the stomach. He died in the ambulance on the way to Memphis. He certainly left his widow well provided for, too. 8 or 10,000 acres, no less. He never loved that woman. She just caught him on the rebound. They found my picture on him the night he died. Oh, and that boy that every girl on the Delta was setting her cap for, that bright, young, beautiful Fitzhugh boy from Greene County.
Would he leave his widow?
He never married. What's the matter with you? You talk as though all my old admirers have turned the toes up to the daisies.
Isn't this the first you mentioned that still survives?
Oh, he had an awful lot of money. He went up north to Wall Street and made a fortune. He had the Midas touch. Everything that boy touched just turned to gold. And I could have been Mrs. J. Duncan Fitzhugh, mind you. Oh, but what did I do? I just went out of my way and found your father.
Mother, let me clear the table.
Oh, no, honey. You go in front and study your typewriter chart to practice your shorthand a little. Stay fresh and pretty. It's almost time for our gentlemen callers to start arriving. Well, how many do you think we're going to be entertaining this afternoon?
I don't believe we'll be receiving any, Mother.
Not any? Not one? Oh, you must be joking. Not one gentleman caller. What's the matter? Has there been a flood or a tornado or something?
It's not a flood. It's not a tornado, Mother. I'm just not popular like you were in Blue Mountain. Mother's afraid I'm going to be an old maid.